All right, let's get this show on.
Yes, sir. I would like to welcome everyone to the September 10th, 2024 Midtown Redevelopment Board meeting. Can we please have roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Davida Bonner, Ms. Renee Richardson,
Here.
Ms. Kathy Washington,
Present.
Ms. Joan Shepherd,
Here.
Mr. Lynn Thompson.
Hello.
and
I mean,
Mr.
I'm
Ed-
here. Sorry.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Tangela Hardy. Ms. Hardy will be arriving in a few moments.
Okay. And now we will have invocation by our pastor, Eddie Lake, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for this privilege and opportunity we have together as concerned citizens about our wonderful city. We pray, oh God, that you would guide our footsteps at this Midtown Redevelopment Board meeting. We pray that you would be with us from the roll call through the adjourning moment. We pray, Father, that you would give us wisdom, insight, and direction to make wise decisions so that we advance the city of Daytona Beach. Now, Father, be pleased with the decisions that we make and our discussion with the community, that we lock arm in arm and work together to make a difference for everyone to be blessed. And it's in Jesus' name we thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving forward, let's see, the approval of the agenda. Has everyone had an opportunity to view the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve
Eddie
the?
Lake move the approval of the agenda.
Okay, can I have a second?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries for the approval of the agenda. Moving to the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to view them? All right.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So
Okay.
Move.
Can I have a second?
Eddie Lake, second the motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? The approval minutes for August 2024 is approved. Moving to item number 7, commercial property improvement grant funding request. Ms. Toliver.
Chair and board members, before I get started on item 7, I want to give some background. The way it was presented to you in your agenda packet, it's presented as though I need a vote on it in order for this item to move forward. But I actually am presenting this for information purposes only because the dollar amount that the applicant is requesting is less than $25,000. But going forward, since I've started this precedent, I'm going to bring each one to you, even if they are below $25,000. I'm Michele Toliver. I didn't say that to start with. I'm the project manager for Midtown. And this is item 7. It is a commercial property improvement grant funding request from MLK OZ LLC at 141 South Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The project request is from Mr. Leon McCray. He's the applicant as well as the property owner of MLK OZ LLC, and he's requesting funding through our zero interest loan for the Commercial Improvement Incentive Program. The application is to replace 11 windows, and I left off the other item. It is to replace his roof. In your packet, that is there, but this agenda item that I'm presenting doesn't have the roof on there, and I left that off by mistake. And this is at the property located at 141 South Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. This is the site location, and this is an Airbnb at this location. The next slide shows an aerial. Because the building is underneath a very large oak tree. You can only see the leaves, but trust me, there is a building there. Some background on this project. MLK OZ LLC is a vacation rental business that opened in 2022. Mr. McCray submitted a grant application to replace the roof and 11 existing windows at 141 South Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. According to the price quotes attached to the grant application, and I apologize, I did not include the attachments. I can provide that to you for information by email. The new roof and the replacement window costs are estimated at $29,151.32. Therefore, based on the criteria of the grant program, MLK OZ LLC is eligible to receive $23,321.06. This amount is 80% of the total project cost. Additional background is the Commercial Improvement Program was created to provide incentives that will encourage the renovation and rehabilitation of any building located in the Daytona Beach redevelopment areas. This program is in the form of a 0% interest rate loan and is forgivable after 2 years, so long as a licensed business is at the location. This project meets all eligibility. And then the fiscal impact would be a $23,321.06 grant. Okay, keep doing this. The project analysis, review of, and the decision on the commercial incentive application is based on the following preconditions. Is it a conforming use? The subject property is in the RDM1 Redevelopment Midtown Center mixed use, which allows for visitor accommodation uses, vacation rentals, as a principal use. Does the property have any delinquent ad valorem taxes or municipal or county liens? Staff has not found any delinquent ad valorem taxes, municipal or county liens on the subject property. And how the project will contribute to the elimination or prevention of slum and blight. This subject property has been on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard for many years, and in 2022, the interior and exterior of the building was improved prior to the business opening. The applicant is proposing to complete these exterior improvements to make the building even more attractive to clients. Staff has reviewed the proposed project and it meets all the required preconditions. And that concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
So we don't need a majority vote?
You do not.
Okay.
But I will customarily bring every request to you just to give you an idea of what improvements are being made. So far, I have had about, I think it's 9 residential grant requests to improve fencing on the property. One was for fencing as well as painting of the exterior home. We've had about 4 different grant requests, and I said I was going to do this. I was supposed to give y'all a list. I'm going to do it. But in the meantime, I've had about 4 grant applications in Midtown for small projects. That wouldn't fall in the category of this type of grant. It would be projects that are either $15,000 or less or $20,000 or less. Okay. And we've had 1 applicant to do a lease subsidy grant. And I think that is it. And I owe you all a list of projects that we have accomplished, because Mr. Nicholson pointed out that we need to share with the public the things that we've accomplished in Midtown, and I will get that for you. That concludes my presentation. Any other questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you. Moving along, staff reports. Captain Conte. Who's doctor?
Dr. Conde.
Everyone. Captain Leo Conde, Daytona Beach Police. These are the most recent statistics for August 12th until September the 9th. District 1 Patrol handled 2,812 calls for service, completed 599 reports, arrested 90 subjects for felony offenses, arrested 99 subjects for misdemeanor offenses, conducted 429 traffic stops, issued 360 citations. As far as for Part 1 crimes, unfortunately, we did have a homicide, which occurred a few days ago. We have 8 aggravated assault offenses, which involved firearms and knives, 6 of which have been cleared by arrest. There were no DV aggravated assault investigations. We had 2 robberies, both of which were cleared by arrest. We had 9 simple domestics, 3 cleared by arrest, 7 burglaries, 4 cleared by arrest, 2 sexual offense investigations, which remain ongoing. And of note, there were actually 7 vehicle theft investigations, 2 of which were cleared by arrest, and 1 had a complaint affidavit, and 7 car breaks, 3 of which were cleared by arrest. Now, if you remember, for the past year, the number of auto thefts have been significantly higher, so we're actually seeing a positive turn. You know, there's been a significant decrease, so that's very fortunate for us. The traffic initiative for August was Brentwood Drive between Nova Road and the tracks, and we concluded that with 154 traffic stops, 140 citations, and 22 warnings. The initiative for the month of September will be George W. Ingram from White Street to North MLK. Of note is, obviously, we had the August elections, and fortunately, there were no disturbances reported. And other than a little bit of traffic congestion, we had no issues during the August races either. We are now finalizing our plans for Trucktoberfest, scheduled for October 4th and 5th. Obviously, by Oktoberfest, October 17th through the 20th, and then BCU homecoming events, October the 26th.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Just two minor questions. Any change in terms of the statistical data with the demographics, any adjustments or shifts?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. The second question is, how is the, and I guess this is something that we can work toward, but how is the collaboration and partnership when we have natural disasters, of course, with law enforcement and the emergency medical and the Volusia County emergency management system? How is that, how does that work, and how is information shared with the public?
It would honestly all depend on the incident at hand. If it is a natural disaster, then we establish what's called a unified command structure, where police, fire, and medical, have a base point, and then depending on if it is, structural or if it's, water related or something like that, that's where the 3 of us meet, and then that's where we're able to communicate effectively, and then we pass that on. Depending on what the nature of the incident is, if it is strictly a natural disaster, then more than likely the fire department's public information officer would relay the information. If it is, a combination of both natural, medical, and police related, like, God forbid, a building or a large casualty, then it would be a combination of all those. But the details would depend specifically on what it is. We do have a very good working relationship, not only with our counterparts in other law enforcement agencies, but also with the other medical services and the fire department.
Right.
We have had additional training where we all get together, because I think sometimes the police side and the fire side and the medical side don't always think the same, because our objectives are different. So we do, have a good relationship, and with the advanced training that we receive, it improves that level of communication.
Okay, good. And the last question, again, another topic in relating to domestic violence against women, because I understand that Volusia County actually leads the state in cases, reported cases. How has, with this death recently, but last month there was another death. A husband killed wife. I'm not sure if that was in Daytona Beach, and they had a young son, 12-year-old son.
Palaco.
Was it in Palaco?
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't.
Palaco.
Yeah. But just wanted to know what are we seeing statistically regarding domestic violence cases?
Unfortunately, that's the one nature of crime that remains constant. We do see spikes typically around the holiday season as well as the summer months. Holiday season, I would attribute to people gathering and probably the consumption of alcohol, but there's no rhyme or reason. To qualify for a domestic violence offense, it's not necessarily a marital relationship. It could be someone that they have a shared child in common with. It could be, paternal and child. It could be a cousin that they lived with when they were a child. So the nature of the relationship will typically fall under a domestic, but it's literally across the gamut. The one thing that we strive for is, prosecution. Unfortunately, that does come at a drawback to a lot of the victims because not every time, but a lot of the time, the offender is also the primary breadwinner. The good thing is that there's a lot of different programs that are available through some joint efforts with the state attorney's office as well as the police department. We do have victim advocates both on the state attorney side as well as the police department side. We obviously seek to give them as much information as we can, provide them as many resources as we can. But unfortunately, what we sometimes see is a lack of desire of prosecution. And I would say that due to the overwhelming number of cases that are filed and some subjects are arrested, a lot of those cases are eventually just closed out because there's no desire to prosecute.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
Welcome.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always welcome. It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Excuse me. Have a good evening.
To line 8B, code compliance. Ms. Kirk?
Good evening. Sarah Kirk, inspector with the city. My credential, I'm sorry, I'm thinking I'm in the hearing. Excuse me. Okay, so for the month of August, we had 30 total code cases, 6 of which were vacant lot, 2 rental cases. 1 was a blighted property, which was a fire, and then the rest were code cases. We do have a new inspector working. They divide Midtown in half. So I have one side, and we have a new inspector working the other side of Midtown. She's doing a very good job, I must say. So we do have 30 cases this month. So we're just continuing to take complaints and field-generated cases. Any questions?
One question.
Okay, sir.
Are all of these new cases? How many are new cases?
Okay, these were all for the month of August. So they were all opened in August. Some of them, you can see the milestone, were put into compliance. Like, for example, the first one, that was the fire case. So that was just posted, condemned. One is, some are still pending notices of violation. Couple or others are in compliance, but all of these were either complaint or field generated for the month of August.
So they're brand new for August.
Yes, that's
Not
correct.
carried over from July.
No, these were all created in August.
Very good. Thank you.
Ms. Kirk, that brings up to my mind, how many do you have on your books that are repeat offenders?
Just for I can only speak for my particular area. There are a few.
The only reason I say that is because I'm aware of the process that you have to go through to cajole some of these property owners to hear the problem. So if they are repeat offenders and you have that documented, then once it goes to court, then you can show that.
Yeah, and there's two ways, of course. They can just get another fine, which, we wish we didn't have to. We'd rather them come into compliance. But then there's also, if it's something like parking in the yard, and we've already, found the magistrate or code board has found them in non-compliance, then we can just return them right back, and they can get a fine for each occurrence. So it could be every day they park in the grass or whatever the violation is. So that's a repeat offender. So they can also do that. It doesn't happen too much, but I do have a few, and I'm sure other inspectors do as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, question. So you say they're either field generated or a complaint is filed? Okay. And then, once, I guess it's resolved, then we don't hear about it anymore.
Pretty much, if it's put into compliance, then that's it. Until, if it, like she just asked, Ms. Shepherd just asked if it becomes a reoffender or something like that. But if it's in compliance, it's done.
Okay, what's the difference between in compliance and compliance? In compliance is in process?
I think they're just the same, and maybe because I see the in compliances are under the vacant lot cases, so it may just be that particular, we have a new system, IMS, so it might just be the way that they word it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's the same thing. They're both in compliance.
All right, just as I'm reading, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep, and then first notice complete means the first notice was sent out.
Okay,
Yeah, and then,
okay.
those, a few different ones that kind of mean similar, but like, we're working with a new system, so we're still kind of getting used to it ourselves.
Thank you.
I have a question. If, who do we report? I have a situation, 947 Lockhart Street,
Okay?
my next door neighbor. The lot is vacant. The owner was found dead 3 years ago.
Is that the same one?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
And the grass, again, is up to almost to my waist.
okay. I know the city cut it the last time, so I will get with Inspector Bostwick.
Yeah, because
this
he
vacant
didn't have
lot.
any family here,
All right,
none at all.
Yep.
And when we went through the changes to reach his family, they had to walk 2 miles to use a telephone. So we know they don't want it because they can't afford it. And I just want to know, what is the process? Because as I said, the grass is just ridiculous now, again.
I will talk with Inspector Bostwick and see if he can pull some strings again, see if, and with the manager, Denzel Sykes, to see if they can work it out to get the city to cut it again. And I'll just, have to go that route and also bring it to the manager's attention as well. See if there are any other steps at this point.
Yeah, because I actually had to make the request for them to tear the house down because he was in the house 3 months dead. Nobody knew. Yes. And I kept getting this strange smell and I didn't know what it was. People would come up in my driveway and they said, "What is that odor?" I don't know. And finally, I called the police and they went in. They broke in and he was on the floor. He'd been there for 3 months.
Oh, wow. I remember a lady that worked in Publix, one of your neighbors. She approached me while I was in there, and this was after he was removed, but she was putting it, because his truck was still parked outside.
Right.
And I opened the case, and, so I had the case on it, and we almost, the attorney, there was somebody that was interested in buying it, and she had like, okay.
I've been asking and no response.
She had about 10 of the family members that had signed off, but there was one holdout in Vietnam, and they were so, they were out, they couldn't get to him or something like that.
It takes that long.
Yeah.
They don't live anywhere near they're very poor and they don't live near. They told me they would have to walk about 2 miles to get to a telephone.
Yeah.
So it's hard to communicate.
Well, I will definitely bring it up to Inspector Bostwick as well as Manager Sykes to see, what other than cutting the yard, if there's something else maybe we can also do.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Richards.
All right. And next up, Ms. Toliver for redevelopment.
Madam Chair, board members, Michele Toliver, Redevelopment Project Manager. The Midtown projects I want to update you on are the land acquisition. The September 4th commission meeting, they approved the purchase, and I got to get better with this. I should have some graphics, but if you will, imagine with me. Okay. Checkers on the ISB at MLK. Across the street, there is a Dad, see you imagining with me.
Yes.
Stay with me. Okay. So on that street to the east is Helmy Place. And we purchased a existing home with an ADU in the back, an accessory dwelling unit in the back. We purchased that. The commission approved it on September 4th. So that makes a total of 3 purchases in that area that we're trying to develop a town center. We have about 4 more properties, but we're going beyond that. We're going to where the Housing Authority has the Walnut Oak property. And all of that, from Walnut Oak all the way up to ISB, will be what we're going to see as a town center before I close my eyes on this side of the earth. And the next acquisition I want to update you on is, if you will, imagine with me, MMB, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, at the corner of Walnut and Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. And I give her her respect. I don't want to say MMB because that just sounds so soft. But anyway, at that corner is the former Campbell Hotel.
Yep.
2-story building that caught fire. We're in the process of purchasing that. And you'll hear more about that. And then the next property, if you will, travel with me west on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard.
I can't believe it. I'm getting chills.
All the way down past Pine Haven, well, not past Pine Haven. Stop at Pine Haven, go right across the street. I don't know if you know where Pine Haven is, but just... Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So if you pass Bethune Grill,
Okay, I know where that is.
Okay.
keep past Bethune Grill, and you're gonna come to Pine Haven. Across the street from Pine Haven is what the locals know as the former
Dr. Hendricks.
Dr. Hendricks' office and the laundromat. Okay, and then there's a house next to it. They were using as the casket store.
Right.
Yes.
And then if you come on DeSoto Street, like you going south, there's some vacant lots. And then there's a house. We're in the process of purchasing that from Mr. Irvin White. And we have some development,
Wow.
mixed use, commercial as well as residential. Campbell Hotel, pretty much the same thing. Residential up top and some commercial, specifically retail on the bottom. But all of that will come back to you when we get a little bit more detail. We're hoping to take it to the commission for approval in October with the help of Phoebe, with some designs that she's reached out to some colleagues for to help us put together some design concepts for how it's going to look inside and out. Bring all that back to you. And the last item is just a follow-up. I think it was back in June of this year, we purchased Shiloh's Church, the former Shiloh Church. Hopefully, we will start the demolition process. And the redevelopment staff will be going over to Tampa on the 19th to a 10-day multifamily conference. Multifamily construction conference for developers. We're seeking people to come to Daytona to do some development for us, as well as the other CRAs. But we're going there this month, and then our annual FRA conference is going to be in Tampa as well. And we're hoping to make some relationships and bring some developers here to start breaking ground on some projects that we're doing some acquisitions on.
Very good.
Any questions?
So wonderful.
We wish you.
Wonderful.
I'm speechless.
Yes,
Favor on it.
yes.
Absolutely.
And that is it for the Midtown projects.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Toliver.
No, I just have a
Questions? Sorry.
Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. These are great projects.
Yes.
And sometimes at the commission, there are some commissioners who are very resistant to the price points needed to purchase properties to end the blight. So I would please urge you, get in touch with commissioners or come to the meeting, but make sure that the commissioners know that the Midtown Redevelopment Board says, yes, sometimes it's okay to maybe overpay for a property.
Yeah.
Because that was an issue on that Helm Street property.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we don't need that resistance. So I just urge you to please help the commission along to make good decisions.
all right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did he fill out?
Also, the Campbell Hotel is so exciting.
Yes, yes, yes.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. Sarah left, so I was going to say, well, my credentials are adult male. But either way, I wanted to say I was glad to hear, well, she left, the project you're talking about because it fits right in line with the Midtown redevelopment plan and all that. So that was just my input. I wanted to say that. So I was glad to see it, especially the town center and all that. You could go right back to the Midtown redevelopment plan and it lists all that information that was there. So great job, Ms. Toliver, and Mr. Thomas, and Ms. Phoebe, and Angela. Everybody's doing that project that's there. Thank you.
Very good.
I have a question for Ms. Toliver. So if you have businesses if you have businesses in the area of the Martin Luther King where everything is going to be upgrading and coming along and stuff, how do you get connected with the connection that you guys have to make sure that what we would like to see if we are a business owner or if you have some type of property that wants to fit in what you guys are building, a developer, how do you get, connected with that so we can also be a part of that if that's something that we want to do?
For the city process, we have to go through a formal public request,
Okay,
a request for proposals, and that's unique to us.
okay,
But we couldn't recommend a developer. Some of what we're doing, you all can participate as board members.
Okay.
And the CRA funds can pay for your trip there, and you use that information however you choose.
okay,
Hint, hint, use it to get.
okay.
But we cannot tell you, use this developer. We cannot tell you to use this construction company because we don't make those determinations. We do fair market analysis of what we're trying to do, and we request how we plan to build it or our idea of how we plan to build it. And we can't share that in terms of you need to use this company or that. But you can ask questions. You can attend conferences. I'm sure, the one for this month is too late to try to attend. But you can ask for public information. What we have, what we gather is public information.
Okay.
And then you use it how you choose to.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
some of it is you can do a lot of asking yourself. For instance, when the framework project starts, you can't go on the job site, but you can go there and take a look. You can ask questions. If you see somebody walking close enough to the fencing area, you can ask questions.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Ms. Toliver, let me follow up with that, just for my own edification. When the city, like for these projects that are in plan, in network, coming down the pike, is there a list of contractors that you choose from, or do you put it up for bid?
We put it out for bid, and what we're going to have to do a better job at is notifying the public, the ones who want to bid on projects, that you have to be a registered vendor to do business with the city. Before, years ago, I would say as recent as 2021, you could bring in a paper bid. We no longer take paper bids. You have to go online and register as a vendor and receive the notice, and then you have to submit your bid through OpenGov. But we have to educate those people. Some of them, and keep in mind, and I say this honestly, we have not had a phone call, some visits, but we've not had a lot of people eager to build in Midtown. Right. So we're going to have to do a lot of the legwork to go get them and bring them here. And I know the commissioner who sits in this seat has said it before, he's not big on incentives, but we're going to have to incentivize and encourage building, whatever that is that's under construction, we're going to have to encourage them and help them along monetarily.
Great
Yeah.
point. And
That'll do it.
Yeah.
with that, yes, that's great. With that, a question for you regarding to the bid process for those contractors. Do they have to have a bond bid a bid bond rather, and do they have to have a certain amount of bonding capacity, and/or does the city assist helping those smaller companies?
Our projects so far have not required bonds, but it does require the ability to identify your funding. But we're looking more on the side of the developer more so than just the general contractor. But there are requirements based on what it is that we're trying to build. But bonding so far has not been a requirement.
Very good, excellent. Good. Now, can you tell me how many persons you have on this vendor list right now, currently?
The purchasing department has a login to
Yes.
OpenGov, and we have not had a chance to pull up who's already registered, but I can find out from purchasing who's already registered. And you're specifically interested in who's registered as a general contractor?
Both, and just general numbers, the number of contractors, just the number of vendors, period, and the number of vendors, period.
Okay.
And if it can be, if you can tell us the demographics of those, where those companies are.
I will get that and share it with you. More than likely, I'm going to do this real soon, because if I forget,
Yes.
because I don't have a lack of stuff to do, but I will get an answer for you, and I'll provide that to the board members. Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No. All right. We are moving along to spotlight presentations. Mr. Pierre.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street, with the business spotlight tonight. Mr. Jared Thompson had to reschedule again, so he'll probably be here next month. It gives me great pleasure. I mean, a lot of times I'll mention that I'm excited about talking to you about a business that's in the area, operating in the Midtown, but I can really seriously say tonight I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to have someone to come to talk to you today about the business that she does in the area. Number one, because I had a neighbor recently. She's from Venezuela, and she needed some assistance. I called because I thought it was actually Attorney Joan Anthony's office that was down there before on Orange Avenue. I went down there to the office, talked to Attorney Camille Martin that was down there, and her office, and primarily her, was so receptive, so very receptive that, you hear certain things about attorneys, you hear certain things about the offices, but the thing that was so impressive about when I went in the office was that Ms. Martin was such a community servant. She's got that big, this little plaque on the wall that says, "We the people." Everybody knows what that thing is. and that's what I noticed when I walked to her office. And not only that, I was helping out the friend of mine that needed the assistance. It was Venezuela. We were going through the language barrier, and she said the lion. She meant the lawyer. But I said, well, they're kind of one and the same almost. You get the right attorney. And at first I thought she said the liar. And I said, well, I don't want to go there. But I left that one out. But either way, Attorney Russell's looking at me like, did they write that down? Either way, the point what I wanted to get across was that we tried to get Ms. Martin to the board a few times, but as it is, when you're a community servant and attorney, you're very, very busy. So I'm excited, and I'm glad that we not only have Attorney Martin to talk about her services that are provided in the Midtown area, we also have what I call a community servant and a servant leader. And I think that's extremely, extremely important. People talk about it, but in the Marine Corps, we look for ones that do it. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, someone that does it, yes. Attorney Philip Martin. Thank you. Very good. Very good.
Wow, what a great introduction. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I thought I was just going to come here and just say, hello, this is who I am, this is what I do. But thank you all for having me here tonight. I am Attorney Camille Martin, and I have the pleasure of my offices, I think is it that way? That way. My office is at 847 Orange Avenue. And now Judge Joan Anthony used to be in that office. And she called me one day. She said, hey, as you all know, she was running for judge and she was elected. And she said, do you want my office? And I was like, really? Because my office was in DeLand at the time. I'm from the west side. So I said, absolutely, I would be honored to step into your footsteps and be in your office. And I've been there since 2020. And hopefully, God willing, I'll be there even longer.
Okay.
I am a criminal defense attorney as well as a family law attorney. Of those two areas, I prefer criminal law. And speaking of criminal law, as Mr. Pierre stated, he tried to get me a couple of times to come here, and when I say the level of harassment and stalking that Mr. Lewis
That's him.
exhibited, you know, I was almost ready to call the police, and I said, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but he's always here. But I'm kidding, I'm kidding. But he's a very nice person, very genuine soul, and again, I'm honored to be here today in front of you all. I started my career at the state attorney's office in DeLand. So I was there for 7 years. Learned a lot. Unfortunately, I did not like how certain people from certain socioeconomic as well as racial backgrounds were treated in that area. And I decided to leave that and to go out on my own, stepped out on faith and started my own business. And I wanted to help the people who felt helpless, who felt hopeless.
Okay.
And I actually love doing it. Sometimes it can be a thankless job. Sometimes it can be a non-rewarding job. I believe we have an attorney over here. I don't know what field you practice in, but it's tough. It's tough. But again, this I feel is my calling, and I truly enjoy doing it. Now I have the opportunity to pick which cases I want, to pick who I want to help. And as Mr. Pierre stated, he had a neighbor who needed help. And I knew that I could help her, and that's what I did. And that's what I hope to continue to do. And speaking of help, I just want to say thank you. I don't know how it happened, but I've been having issues with, I don't know if they're homeless or just people who like to hang out in front of my office. I don't know. But when I pull up, there's usually a assortment of people on the bus bench there right on Orange Avenue. Shaking your head, you know. Yes, so every time I come, and they're very friendly, like, hey, how you doing? And if it's raining, there's always one gentleman who sits right in front of my office. Like, my door is here and he is there. So he has these milk crates that he uses as furniture. And then so initially I would get just so frustrated, and I would ask him, why are you sitting here in front of my office and not these other offices down the way? And he couldn't really give me an answer. So one day I came to the office and he wasn't there. And I hate to admit this, hopefully the officer is not here, that I won't be arrested. But he left his crates unattended. And I said, okay, here's my chance. I'm going to remove his crate and I'm going to take the crate. So if I take the crate, he can't sit in front of my office. Great. So the next day I came back and he had more crates sitting there in front of the office. And then it became a battle of the wills. So I said, okay, I'm going to take the crates again. And the next day I came back, there were more crates. So at that point I just gave up. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be arrested for conspiracy to steal milk crates. So I just gave up. And I talked to the city, and they actually, I don't know what they did, but they implemented a lot of things. And today I came, and it was kind of eerie, because for the last, I don't know how many months, there's always been a group of people sitting on the bench, and then this gentleman who was by my office, and they were gone. And I looked, and I'm like, I hope he's okay, because, you know, I've kind of gotten used to seeing him, you know, and he had like a crutch, so clearly he has some medical issues. So, and then I looked around and I saw some no trespass signs, and I was like, wow, this is like, you know, a whole new building. So again, thank you. I don't know who did it, who made it happen, but I appreciate it. My frustration is gone. My safety, I was kind of not really worried, but it's also, as an attorney, you don't want your potential clients to come to your office and they have to walk through several, again, I don't know if they're homeless, but just people who choose to congregate at my office. So I thank you all very much. I hope to be here in the Midtown area. I didn't know that you all had all of these wonderful things going on. I'm very excited to be a part of this. I live actually in Orange City, so I come here to work, and I didn't know that I was a part of a community that is doing such great things. So I'm excited, and like I said, God willing, I plan on being here a lot longer.
All right.
So I thank you guys very much.
Great.
Thank you. And thank you again for the harassment, the stalking.
I know it.
The phone calls.
Attorney Martin, just a quick question. Do you have any business cards with you?
Yes, I do. I came prepared. Yes.
Okay,
Wonderful.
because I want to make your life very busy.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I apologize. Were there any other questions from the board members? I didn't want to be rude, not be invited back.
No, ma'am, but
Thanks
thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
being in our area and
Thank
looking out for the less fortunate.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thank
And thank you all for what you all do. This is hard
Bless
work.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to old business, and I have something for old business. 386 Transform. I attended the mayor's meeting, the meeting that he had the other day, last Thursday. I think it was last Thursday.
Commission meeting.
Yes. Was it on Wednesday?
Yes.
I thought it was Thursday, because I was still on vacation.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Anyway, so I attended the 386 I attended the meeting with the commissioners and the mayor to give them a view from a resident's point of view about 386 Transform. And I let them know that it wasn't really working for the community as well as for me. And Commissioner Cantoon gave me Reinhardt, Matt Reinhardt. So I reached out to him, and I reached out by email and by phone. I got an email back saying that he's going to have somebody to take a look at my case, which that's not what I really want. I really want them to actually do something with the program kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. And then I had a lady from 386 Transform. Her name was, let's see, Peterson. Oh, shoot, I wrote it down. But her email, actually, she said her name is Lisa Peterson. She's with 386 Transform. Her phone number, 386-943-7029, extension 12985. We had a long discussion. She says she is one of the leaders, but she did not know anything about staff with the Daytona Beach wanting to help and assist with 386 Transform. She said she didn't get she had not seen a letter from Mr. Collins, did not know that anyone wanted to help them, and pleased to give her a call. So, and I have her email address as well, L. Peterson, and that's with a PETERSON @volusia.org. I told her about Mr. Theater, about Mr. Thomas, about Ms. Toliver, about us wanting to participate with the county so we can get some movement with this program. The only thing that she could tell me is that one person, nobody has gotten any money yet. Nobody has gotten reimbursed or, nobody's gotten repairs. The only thing they are waiting on, or the first thing that they are waiting on, is someone who has a trailer. The trailer is going to be the first thing, and that's it. There is no money went out. There was nothing, and I told her that was poor. That was poor on the part of this whole program. You know, because I told her we should have some type of information. It's just been bad. And that's what I told her. Ooh, and I even told her about the guy who came, Christopher Williams, who came, all of the people that I spoke with so far, you know, all of the people that have been representative of this program that is definitely not working. So I expect to hear calls back, but I wanted to give you guys that information because I told her even before the program started, Mr. Collins wrote a letter, sent it, you know, and said that we wanted to be a part of the process. It doesn't necessarily have to be the processing of the applications, but it could help to get more, you know, people out to the information. So she wanted me to plug the program again, and I told her we've plugged it. We've done what we could do for it. It needs to be resuscitated, and you guys need to do better. So that's what it is. They're not doing anything. So she said the only one that they have is a person that's supposed to get a trailer, and that's it. Out of all of this time, a trailer. So that was old business. Does anybody have anything else for old business? Okay. Moving on to new business, Ms. Toliver.
Okay, I'm going to give the update from right here, because this is information I've provided to each board member. I'm going to go down, because
I'm excited about this.
Madam Chair, board members, Michele Toliver, Project Manager, Midtown. I'm going to use the clicker, guys. I got it. I'm going to do like Grandma say, do it right. Okay. So this item, 11A, I'm giving this information to you. It doesn't require a vote. It's just sharing information with you because some of this project for the fire department affects Midtown. So this is the item for a public use permit / site plan for the Daytona Beach Fire Headquarters. The next slide is an aerial of the I guess the image to your right, near, if that's your right, yeah, that's your right. Near Ridgewood is where the parcels will be combined, and that will be the location for the new fire station headquarters. And the area to the left is the off-site compensating storage for the project. So that's where the water is going to be collected that runs off from the property for the fire department. And the next image is just the, oh, I left something out. Okay, so in your packet, there is a rendering of the police, not the police, the fire department. For you all who don't have this, it's just gorgeous. But I didn't include it there. You all have it in your packet, yeah, but me and my rush. I did not put this image in there. But anyway, the image that's on the screen is the east elevation and the west elevation of the building. And if you'll notice, my first thought was, where is this beautiful thing? Well, this is going to be facing north. So when you drive down Ridgewood, you'll see it. And then these images that you see here, the one on top, east elevation. The one on top, you will see from Marion Street. And then the one on the bottom, you will see as you're driving past Ridgewood. But this image here, you will see north. You know, if you're traveling south, you'll see it from a north view. So I had to make sense of that. So I hope that helps visually seeing the building. This will be facing north. This will be facing north.
I'm traveling south on Ridgewood.
Yep. And the side of the building will be the image on the bottom. But this image you'll see as you're approaching the building because it's going to be facing north.
Why did they do that so that they put the fire trucks coming
Exiting.
Yes.
Yes. But this beautiful image will
Gorgeous.
be facing north. But I had to get my perspectives when I looked at it. But you won't see it in
So
facing
that,
Ridgewood.
is that on the boundaries of Midtown or is it outside
Nope,
of Midtown?
the part that is included in Midtown is the compensating storage.
water retention.
The retention, yes.
Of Wallace?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what makes it cover. The downtown, the actual building itself will be in downtown redevelopment, and then the retention pond is the area in Midtown. And that's a park right now. So the next image is the north. Yeah, this don't do it any justice. This is what I was telling you about this image here. This is the north image you see there at the top, and the south image on the bottom. But this drawing does no justice to the image that I gave you as your first page. And this is the, if you'll notice on Ridgewood, there's going to be a huge cutout, and it'll only be for the fire truck to turn north. You know, they'll exit the bay, and then they'll be able, the lights will come on, stopping traffic, and they'll be able to exit and go north on Ridgewood. There'll be a huge cutout. And the next slide is the retention pond area. That's just an image of that. So I want to back up. Do I? Yeah, I want to back up. I'm going to stay on this just for the sake of discussion. So in your packet, I gave you some narrative about what happened on August 21st, and I just want to read it into the record for the people who are listening and who are here in the chamber. On August 21st, 2024, the City Commission approved the public use permit for the new fire station headquarters. The approval allows for the use and the development of a new fire department headquarters building in the 400 block of South Ridgewood Avenue and includes an off-site compensating storage site at 505 Live Oak, which is Live Oak Park. The approval granted by the commission also waives the requirement for the redevelopment boards to approve the site plan for the project. The site plan is being presented tonight for informational purposes. So back on August 21st, the commission approved the public use permit application, and they also approved this site plan that we're looking at now. Normally, it would come to this board as well as the downtown redevelopment board, then it would move to the planning board. Nope, I'm sorry, wouldn't. It stops right there. The site plan approval stops at the redevelopment board. But in this case, they're fast tracking it. And I left some of my information on the desk because they are planning for construction very soon. They're planning to pull the building permit, I want to say December of this year, but I'm going off the top of my head, and it's about a 12 to 18 month construction period. I got that from earlier today when it was presented. And in addition to a bond that a bond was issued to fund this project, they also got a $10 million grant to do this construction. And I can't remember the total project costs. I have that on my tablet. But the former location where they're moving out of on Beach Street and Orange Avenue, they will do an RFP to try to get a restaurant or something. They haven't finished the RFP, but they'll do an RFP to lease out that. It'll still be owned by the city, but the whatever use they come up with will be a lease for somebody in the general public to use the space.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Yes. Public comments, sorry. Yes.
Yes, yes. And it's more so a walking trail.
Okay.
Yep. And they'll do away with the, there's some outdated playground equipment. They'll dispose of that, and it'll be a walking trail.
And moving on, public comments. Miss Pierre Lewis.
I'm surprised. And Ruby doesn't have.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. If I had any comments, I just wanted to echo something that the chair was talking about to add some support behind the procedures that are obviously not going appropriate or correct with the Transform 386. As we mentioned the last time on the board, I too, just like the chair, have talked to Mr. Reinhardt or different people that's in that area. I think it's one thing that someone can say, I'll look at this one problem, but it is apparent to me that this is more than just a one-person problem. This is a procedural thing that I think is not being done by procedures. Because every time you will hear someone say something about something that's going on, whether it's on the other side or on this particular place, it's always something that says that, not just that people aren't getting money, they're not even getting the attention. And then sometimes you'll have a phone conversation. I won't say about anybody's name on this. You'll talk to someone at the county, and then they'll talk to you again, and guess what? They'll ask you the exact same questions that someone asked you a month prior. And then a month prior to that, someone will ask you the exact same questions. So there is definitely some procedural or some leadership or management courses that probably somebody needs
All
to
the above.
or they did, yes ma'am, or they did not have in place when they decided how these funds are to be dispersed or to disperse in the areas. Because I'm like the chair. It's like every time you talk to somebody, I was in that situation. I said I didn't know what I could put in for it because I had received part of the grant money from the city, part of it from the bank. However, my house shifted, the foundation, and the bank doesn't cover that. It doesn't cover shifting your house. There's a lot of other things happen when your house is now crooked.
Yeah.
That stuff is happening. So it covers. So they said I could put in for it, but I put in for it. But every time you talk to someone, they'll ask you the exact same questions. So that's something is going awry. I remember Mr. Collins put the letter in, but there's something more than a letter. Somebody needs to look at the procedure. I'm the last one to tell somebody how to do their business, because I always think it's kind of inappropriate because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. However, if I had to make a comment just to support, as an added support, so you can hear another voice, something is not going right with how these procedures are being done with this Transform 386. And I know it's not affecting just one. It's one thing when somebody can call and say, I can fix this one problem, but that's not it. There's an overall something needs to be done to look at. Systemic, that's a good word. Right, there you go, there's a good systemic problem. That was my only comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Comments from the board? Pastor Lake?
Great meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
Amen.
all right. Ms. Jones?
No. Amen to the staff.
Kudos.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going
You
to
really
say.
deserve on the record a round of applause.
Yes.
Great work.
I have one comment. Michelle, I'm getting you some sticky notes. A whole bunch of sticky notes.
We have how many pages? 4 pages of them?
Okay.
I'd just like to say thank you to the staff. This has been a very, very informative meeting tonight. A lot was accomplished, and we got to see more than what we've seen in the past. And I'm saying this to staff because being involved for over 20 years, I think I got more information tonight than I've gotten in over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the work that's being put in. It makes a big difference. And that way, when people inquire, when they see me on the street, I can talk with knowledge of what's going on. But I really appreciate the hard work that's being done.
Excellent. Wonderful.
And for me, thank you to the staff. Excited about all of the progress. You guys said it was coming, and it is coming. We have great leadership in a great place right now. So
Yes.
thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are adjourned.
All right, all right, all right.
Wonderful.
All right.